Okay, so this is my alternative morning paddle this morning. It's a beautiful morning, but there's a little bit of a breeze, and I like to set off into wind, so it carries me home, and you know, I can relax with the wind behind me. So this time I'm going to go the other way. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, let's get in the water. Okay, so I'm going west today. Like I said, that's because I'm into wind. There's not a massive wind anyway, but I thought I'd go into wind today. It's also a slightly shorter route because I've got an earlier start today working. Okay, so I'm going under what's called the New Leicester Road. That's the A426 coming down from the M6 into Rugby in the West Midlands. That's where I normally do my morning paddle. Now that down there used to be the old canal. I'm going on the new canal now. When I say the old canal, that was from when the canal was straightened up. That was made disused. It was straightened up in 1829. The old part of it was built in. The new part of it, when it was straightened up in 1829. So that old part, when they straightened it up, they took 2 miles out of that bit. That 2 miles goes up past Brownsover Hall, all the way up to where is now the M6. That's a mile up there. It then turned an abrupt left, did about 200 yards across the fields, and came down Swift Valley. In fact, when I get round this corner, you'll pretty much be able to see in the distance where it came back to join the canal again. So it wasn't very far at all, but they had to build this great big bank when they straightened this piece up. Now, interestingly, Rugby's known for quite a few things. It's known for Rugby the game, obviously, when apparently William Webb Ellis picked up the ball famously and ran with it. That was at Rugby school. I don't know how true that actually is, but they seem to celebrate it with pub names and names of roads and things around here. But apart from that, to be honest, there isn't much sign of Rugby the game in actual Rugby. So I'm just going over an aqueduct now. This goes over the River Swift, comes down through the Swift Valley, all the way down from Leicester, through Lutterworth, across the fields, and all the way down through Swift Valley. Now, interestingly, if they wanted to drain this piece of canal, that's where the plug hole is. So they can undo the valve there, drop all of this water straight through to the Swift, to the River Swift. Don't know how often they do that. Not very often, I wouldn't have thought. So it's about 6:45 in the morning at the moment. It's the time I prefer to paddle. Mostly because there's no boats around. So I know I'm the first on the water, and it's lovely and shiny, and I love that. On a sunny morning like this morning, it's just wonderful. But it also means I haven't got to mess about trying to get past boats. I've not got any coming the other way, so that's great as well. And it's just nice, really. There's quite a lot of vegetation grown up now this summer. This buddleia, the butterfly bush. I like that. Now we're going over the next aqueduct. This goes over the top of Old Leicester Road before the A426 New Leicester Road was built. This was the main road into Rugby. It goes, pops out through Elliotsfield Shopping Centre now. So this bridge in front of me, that goes off to the left down to Rugby Wharf. Now that was actually, originally it was the main canal. Came across from the right, coming back down from Brownsover, down through there and across, and then snaked back again in front of me. Now there's something I want to show you on this bridge, so I'm just going to hop off. I love these bridges actually. They're almost out of cast iron, all at the same place. This one was put in to bridge the old piece of canal when the new canal was put in, obviously for the towpath. But the bit I love is if you look at these marks, you see that mark and those all the way down there. This is cast iron, and all of these marks were made by the ropes from the horses. And there hasn't been a horse down here for 100 years, 80 years. Look at that. Don't you think that's just great? And you can see which ones were going which direction, because that one would have been a horse going that way. That one would have been a horse going that way. I just love that. Look, that one's almost sawn right through. Hundreds of horses carrying hundreds of ropes, pulling thousands and thousands of tons of coal. I just love that. Come on in. So that's where the old canal used to come down. That's now what they call a winding hole. If you don't know what a winding hole is, it's for narrowboats to turn around. Because they're so long, they can't turn around in the normal canal. So they have gappy bits where they can turn around. Winding is a really old word. To wind, the word wind means to turn. So the turn of the wind or wind of a handle, it all derives from the same word, meaning to turn. So what else is Rugby famous for? Well, obviously it's famous for the game. Tom Brown's School Days was also the famous book, that is, was also about Tom Brown, a fictional boy who went to Rugby School. Rugby School is still a very big noise in the area. It's a very posh school. Rugby also has the West Coast main line going through it. There's quite an important place on the West Coast main line is Rugby. Once upon a time, Rugby was the place where a lot of steam locomotives, some of the fastest ones in the world, were brought to go into a test shed where they were tested for the amount of coal that went in them, for the amount of output that came out of them. It was a very technical sort of place really for that. Now this bridge just in front of me, that's another disused railway bridge. This came off of the West Coast main line and went to Leicester. It was closed fairly early on actually. I think it closed before the 1960s, before the Dr. Beeching cuts. There's railway all over the place around here. Looks like there's been a tree blown down since the last time I came down here. Oh, how interesting. So just in front of me on the left, through those trees, is Newbold Quarry. Newbold Quarry is an abandoned quarry and kind of a nature reserve now. But that used to be owned by Rugby Cement, which is another thing that Rugby's quite famous for. Rugby Cement. It's owned by Cemex now. And it's a big employer in the area. Got lots of great big quarries and slurry works and all sorts around the area. And high pressure pipes that come to Rugby from all over the place, miles away, bring in the right stuff. So just on the left here, past Newbold Quarry, is where the old canal used to come and join this bit again. Right where that big old oak tree is, right in the middle there. It used to come down there, come out in front of me, and then snake across through those woods over there. Now, people that live on narrowboats and proper boaters, they don't refer to the canal as the canal, they call it the cut. And the reason they call it the cut is because it was literally a trench that was cut through the ground, through the land, by navvies. This one in 1789. But it's not demonstrated anywhere else better than right here. So if we just stop here, what are we looking at? Well, in the Midlands, for a start, you see a lot of ridge and furrow fields. You see all of these ridges and the furrows on this field. Oh, there's a heron. You see all these ridges and furrows on the fields. And that's the medieval farming system where the landowner, the lord, gave up some land to feed his workers. And they were allowed, each family, to have a furrow and a ridge. Interestingly, that's where the word furlong comes from. It was a furrow's length, it was a furlong. Yeah, but when they cleared the lands and put sheep on them, instead of growing things for people to eat, everybody disappeared, and you get a lot of abandoned villages that are just ruins now, or just lumps in fields really, where they've just completely disappeared. So that's the oldest man-made piece that we're looking at. This is the next man-made piece we're looking at, the actual canal, the cut. And then you've got all the new houses over there for Newbold. So as I said, the old canal used to snake over there, straight through there, and then curve round a little bit of woodland there and go back across again. And I'll show you that in a minute. See those marks there? That's where all the ropes from the horses used to catch on the bridge. I love that. I love my morning paddles. So I'm at Newbold now, Newbold on Avon, and this is where the canal used to snake across, back across here. This is all new bit, this bit. It used to snake back across, go down the side of what is now the Barley Mow pub. It may have been the Barley Mow pub then actually. I know it's quite an old place. Used to go across where those boats are, just behind there, and disappear through the hill in a tunnel. Now when they straightened it out, they built a new tunnel just around the corner, Newbold tunnel. It's 185 metres long, so it's not a long tunnel. There's the Barley Mow pub, by the way. It's not a long tunnel, Newbold. But when they straightened it out, they built the new tunnel. And the old tunnel, according to the maps, used to go across here. Now, interestingly, if you go to the church at Newbold, and you walk through the churchyard, take the gate out the back, and then look immediately down the side of the hedge to your right, you can see the bricked up entrance of the old tunnel. That's still there. I imagine it's all collapsed further this way. They've left a few holes in there for bats and stuff, but apart from that you can't really see very much. But it's worth having a look, because you can see where the canal used to snake across all the fields and join back again further down here. So this is Newbold Tunnel. I go through this a lot. I'm not going to today. However, I did do a video on tunnel safety, so if you want to have a look at that, I'll put that up at the end and I'll show you the best ways to go through tunnels. Hello, dog. Hello. Good morning.
Right?
Yeah, not too bad.
Beautiful morning.
Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? So not such a long paddle today. That's about 3 miles there and back. So I'm still at Newbold at the moment. But yeah, that'll be 3 miles here and back, because I've got to start work a bit earlier today. But yeah, so this is my other direction, into wind. Always try and get the wind behind you, it blows you home. That's a great idea, especially if you're somewhere like a really big lake or on the sea or something. Definitely only ever paddle into wind, definitely the safest way. So I'm going to finish my coffee, I'm going to paddle back and go to work. Like, subscribe, stay tuned, and happy paddling.